Jean-David Levitte, merci d'être. Thank you for being with us. You are a very, very distinguished French diplomat. You've been ambassador of the United Nations, ambassador in Washington. Now you are the sherpa to President Sarkozy, and you have just returned from the European summit in Brussels, where the euro may or may not have been saved. I say that in that way because the markets move very fast. Do you think that the decisions at the summit have been decisive enough to calm the markets?
Well, the markets will tell us in the next few days. What I want to say today is that the leaders participating in this very important summit had all the conviction that they were not allowed to fail, simply because we cannot let the euro fail. What is at stake is not only the very existence of the euro, it's the very existence of the European Union. If we were to lose the euro, it would be the end of the European Union. That's why the leaders have decided to take all the necessary decisions to give a long-term answer to the problems, to integrate better the Eurozone, to make sure that fiscal discipline will be adopted by all members, with sanctions if need be, to make sure that there will be a real convergence of our economies, to make sure that competitivity will be a key word. And for that, they've decided to meet as the 17 leaders of the Eurozone once a month on specific subjects like economic convergence, fiscal discipline, and so on and so forth, to make sure that until the crisis is over, they are in charge, taking all the necessary decisions. What is at stake is huge, and we simply cannot fail.
But the decision of the summit really boils down to a greater pooling of sovereignty. Does that not increase what has been called the democratic deficit in the European Union? A deficit which has existed before and which has led to several embarrassing referendum decisions in several countries, including France, of course.
I don't buy the idea that there is a deficit because, after all, our people are voting on a regular basis, and when they vote, they decide if the policies implemented by each government, including and number one now on Europe, the future of the euro, are appropriate or not. What is impressive is that when you look at the changes of governments which occurred recently in Greece, in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal, just to name a few, what was the result? New governments, even more determined to go far beyond what was agreed before in terms of integration of the Eurozone, integration of our economies, fiscal discipline. There is a consensus. And so far, these new governments are very popular according to the polls. So it seems to me that there is now a deeply rooted conviction in Europe that we cannot fail. We have to save the euro. And we have to pay the price for that, that is to make efforts in terms of competitivity, in terms of fiscal discipline. Of course, it is not an easy moment, but if you look at the polls in France, people understand that it's no more a time for promises about recruitment of hundreds of thousands of new civil servants and so on. This is not at all the mood in France these days.
A final question. 26 countries were in favor of the resolution at the summit. One country, United Kingdom, was not. How do you see the relationship between the United Kingdom and the rest of the European Union developing?
Well, first, the answer is in London. The answer is in the hands of Prime Minister Cameron. As you know, we were in favor, and strongly in favor, of a treaty adopted as 27, with everybody on board. So it was the decision of the United Kingdom not to join, as the UK decided not to be part of Schengen or the Euro. We respect this sovereign choice, but it is very important to remember that the economy of the UK is deeply integrated in Europe. We are, in continental Europe, by far the biggest market and partner of the UK. So I think in a very pragmatic way, as always, we'll find a way forward.
I hope so. Jean-David LEVITTE, thank you very much.
Thank you.